What's up? What's up? Welcome back. Another episode of the Myles Pod. Episode 6. We back at it. My name is Myles Munroe Jr. Welcoming you back to the Myles Pod. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching wherever it is that you're listening and watching. But please remember to follow on all platforms so you can stay up to date into what we're doing here at the pod. Yeah. Here at the Myles Pod, you know, we like to entertain, educate, and elevate you to staying miles high above your fears, doubts, and any limitations you think may exist. So that's the purpose of this pod. That's what I tend to do or try to do every episode. Just spread some positivity, right? Well, let's hit this pod off. I'm happy to be back. This is going to be sort of a more relaxed pod. This is just an informative pod, right? I want to use this pod to get you guys caught up on what we are as an organization have been working on, what I've been working on over these past couple of years. So this is just the informative pod, pretty much. You know, ever since my parents died, I've been really trying to figure out like how the direction I wanted to take our organizations in. You know, I was working along with my father, as a lot of you know, pretty much day to day, kind of managing everything that was going on. And now I'm kind of overseeing everything. So making all the decisions, deciding the direction that we head in. And, you know, 2020 happened and we were all stuck at home. And I used that entire year to really just plan and try to create what I wanted to see or where I wanted to see the organizations go. And man, I'm happy to inform and happy to announce that we are super close. I haven't been this close before in this aspect or for this particular project. And it involves us creating a training program, an online training program. We get, if you know, every week we get a phone call or an email of someone asking, you know, if there's a program that they can take part in to learn about, you know, what it is that we teach and what it is that we believe in. First of all, as an individual, and then, you know, as an organization, and just using the knowledge and the resources of my dad, my late parents, my dad and my mother. And, you know, finally, you know, last year I really took the time out to really plan and organize what it is that I wanted to do. Got introduced to some good people who are able to assist me in this aspect of the business. And we've started our curriculum building. So, you know, we have 3 programs that are going to come on stream within the next few months. If they're not on stream already, whenever you're watching this, because who knows when you'll be seeing this. So, you know, you may be listening to this or seeing this now, and we may have already gotten started. You know, it's all going to come through our Munroe Institute. You know, that's something that we've formed. I always knew that, you know, we needed to form Munroe Institute, and we were going to use that as the avenue that we were going to create these curriculums and these programs for people to take part in. So, you know, in the next few weeks, we're starting with the basics of things, right? So we've developed a program around discovering and developing your vision, understanding and releasing your purpose, and understanding and maximizing your potential. You know, I think that's the heart of every individual on this earth. That's the heart of what we do, or what we're supposed to be doing while we're here. You know, really understanding and finding our purpose, developing our vision, and ultimately, you know, just leaving it all, you know, here on earth, and getting it all out before we leave. So I'm excited about that. This is something that, you know, it started way before me. You know, my dad had worked pretty hard on getting a training institute started. And that training was going to be in leadership. The training was going to be in kingdom teaching. The training is going to be in self-development. The training is going to be in mentoring. All of these aspects of our human development. He really wanted to hone in on and focus on helping people really develop themselves and be to be the person that they were placed there to be, to fulfill their purpose. And, I'm just so excited that my organization and everyone that's a part of it, my sister and everyone that's working along with us, we're really able to, we're going to be able to start to get this out. So that's one thing that we're working on. Look out for that. It's going to come through the Munroe Institute. We've been, it's been quite a few months, it's actually may almost be a year now that we've been working on this project, and I can see the finish line. Or for those of you maybe watching this later, it's here, right? So I'm just so excited that it's finally coming to fruition. This has been a goal that I wanted to check off my list for quite some time, and I'm finally able to start to write the check stroke. So yeah, look out for that. That's coming up in a few months. And be sure to take advantage of what it is that we're developing. And we're not just going to start with these 3 programs. We just wanted to start, with this, with the basics, when we're talking about purpose, vision, and potential. But we're definitely going to expand into leadership, into mentoring, into learning how to teach, learning how to understand and teach the kingdom message. I'm super excited about that because, obviously that's something that my dad was focused in on, his entire life, this kingdom, the kingdom message. And that's what we should be living. That's what we should be sharing with our friends. It's not a message about religion. It's just a message about a government and a lifestyle and a culture that we're supposed to be displaying here on this earth. So I'm excited for that. Another thing that we're working on that I throughout the 2020 lockdown period, I forced myself to sit down and really think about, man, what is it that I can do? How can I serve our organization and the resources that we have in a new and fresh way? And not just new and fresh, but in an easier way, right? We've had, our resources available in CDs and DVDs, and then we evolved into digital audio and digital video. But I wanted to take it a step further, and I've been working on I've been working on this for almost, I think, 6 months now, maybe 4 months, 4 to 5 months now, maybe. And we're developing our Munroe Global app. Now, the Munroe Global app is going to be the place where all of our resources are going to be accessible. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, as long as you have a mobile device, you'll be able to download the app and you'll be able to have access to all of our resources, all of my dad's teachings, both in audio and video. We'll have a few, we'll eventually develop the app to display a lot of my dad's quotes. It's just things, is kind of some cool things we're going to be able to do with this app. And but mainly what I wanted to do, because I saw that there was an issue, especially when it comes to shipping products, right? And our audience is a global audience, so we're talking about shipping products not only around the U.S. and in the Bahamas, but overseas, right? So in Europe, in the UK, in the Philippines, in Asia, all around the world, South America, North America, Central America. And in order for us to guarantee shipment, there is a certain type and level of shipment that we offer. And, I would have to admit that it's a bit expensive, but it's because, usually when we ship international, in the past, we couldn't guarantee shipments just because we wanted to offer, low rate shipping and make it affordable for the clients and the customers. But, that the caveat to that is, that sometimes items used to get lost. When items get lost, we take it upon ourselves to try and, meet the customer's needs. So we would ship items again. And then we just got into the situation where we were shipping items and everything was just getting lost. And I was like, man, this doesn't make sense because we're wasting a lot of money doing this. So we implemented slightly higher shipping costs, mainly for international shipping, because we wanted to make sure that, items were able to arrive and you were able to track where exactly your shipment was. But now, through 2020, I wanted to really help individuals who wanted the products but didn't want to pay the shipping costs, which I totally understand. So I sat down and was like, man, you know what? Let's develop an app. And I met with some developers. I met with a few developers, actually. Had a round of interviews that we did and settled on this one developer group. And we've been working on developing this app. And, the app basically is just going to be similar to any of the audio streaming platforms that you're familiar with, right? And you're going to be able to have access to the audios and the videos that our organization has to offer. The cool thing about the app is going to have some exclusive teachings that my dad would have had. So I know that you may say, it's not just the items that we have available in our online store or the items that we may post on our YouTube channels or any of our online platforms. There are going to be resources, teachings that are going to be exclusive to the app. And that's one thing that we wanted to do to really encourage people to subscribe to the app and just have access to it 24/7. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. You'll have, full access to all of the resources on the app once you're a subscriber. The cool thing about it is the app is going to constantly be updated. When I tell you guys that I have an office filled from the floor to the ceiling of just resources that we haven't even touched yet, just boxes filled with tapes and CDs and DVDs of my dad's teaching throughout the years. And the goal is to really digitize all of those resources and make them available, whether it's through our online store or whether it's through this app, or who knows, 5-10 years from now, there'll probably be a new idea that we come up with as an organization to make these items available. But, it's still something that I wanted to use and continue to use to not just have these resources sitting around, because these can help so many people, because it's helped me. It's built me into the man that I am today, and it's helped a lot of people around the world. We get these stories and these testimonies constantly. So it's one thing that I've made it a goal of mine and a task of mine, a daily task to really go through the resources and edit them down and digitize them and make them available as fast as we could. It's a lot of resources. Like I can't even describe to you guys of how many CDs and DVDs that we have. But we slowly go through them. We listen to everything. We try to enhance the quality the best we can, because some of them are pretty old, but the message is still powerful. Some of these resources date back to the late 80s. And some, as recent as 2014. So we have, almost 20 to 25 years, 30 years of material that we're going to be putting to use. And most of it will be made available through the Munroe Global app. So the app, it'll be we're putting the finishing touches on the app. I don't really like to give deadlines, because, just knowing how things usually goes, deadlines are hard to be met, especially when you're working in a collaborative effort. So let's just say the app will be here soon, very, very soon. It'll be before this year is out for sure, 100%. The app will be available. I'm super excited for that because there are, I've always wanted people to have easy access to the resources, right? And, sometimes our digital audio and video products aren't easily accessible because once you download them, you still have to have an audio player or a video player that you can, a digital audio and video player that you have access to, maybe on your phone or your mobile device, that you can play them on. And, you have some of the older crowd who really don't know, aren't that tech savvy. So I wanted to make it as easy and simple as possible for them and, for us who are much younger, much more tech savvy, but just want access to the material. And then want to, access to all of the material so you can go through depending on, the motivation that you need or the thing that you're trying to learn or the concept or the principle that you're trying to apply into your life and you want to learn how to do that. This platform, the app that we're creating is going to give you access to hundreds of hours of teaching by my dad, my mom, myself, and my sister, who, and you'll be able to hopefully it'll help you along your life's journey, right? You'll be able to understand and be able to apply the information that you'll be getting, that you're receiving. You'll be able to understand it. You'll be able to apply it. And, that's where wisdom comes in. So I'm super excited about those. I'm happy that we're finally able to make this a reality. It's something that I've been thinking on for quite a while. But, there were so many moving parts with myself and with the organization that I just, I didn't find the time or enough time to sit down and really map it out. And 2020 did that for me. So I'm grateful for 2020. I know a lot of people feel like 2020 was the worst year ever, right? But for me, it was a great year. It was a year that I appreciate, a year that I respect, and a year that I know eventually is going to come back around. So, the key is to prepare for it. But that's a topic for another day. So that's the training programs, the curriculum that we're building through the Munroe Institute. Then we have the app, the Munroe Global app that we're developing as well. And then, I still want to continue, hopefully, to do our yearly trips to Israel. We do this Holy Land Kingdom experience where we take groups of individuals over to Israel. And, I remember when I was younger, man, I used to hate this trip because, again, I was immature at the time, but it just felt like such a long trip where we just go to church all the time, right? That's how it seemed. And it really wasn't until I matured and really understood what it like the opportunity that I was presented with, right? Being able to like really walk in the footsteps of Jesus on this earth and see where he went and understand these stories that we've been reading in the Bible for all of these years. Like if you've never been to Israel, if you've never gone through one of our Holy Land experience trips, I really encourage you to do it, especially if you want to gain a better understanding of the Bible and if you want to truly gain some knowledge of the principles that the Bible teaches us, the stories that we have been hearing all our lives. Sometimes we can't conceptualize these because we don't have a perception of what is being said or how it's being said, right? Something as simple as, this Jesus that traveled from this place to that place. Like, for us, it may be like, okay, it could have been 2 or 3 miles, but we're talking hundreds of miles and they were walking on feet, right? So, it's those types of concepts and those types of principles that we're able to continue to teach. And on the trip, like I said, we still have a ton of resources from my dad. So we're able to use his voice and the things that he would have taught in the places that he taught them. And we have these mechanisms where you can listen to a teaching. So we travel to these different sites and we would sit down and we have guides that take us around. So the guides would tell us, where we are and give us the story of that particular place. And then we're able to play some sound bites from my dad and get a bit more insight from a kingdom perspective on, where we are and why we're there and why this place is important. So yeah, that's a Holy Land Kingdom experience. Hopefully the world calms down sooner than later, and we'll be able to get that back on track, because I'm looking forward to continuing that trip for sure. Our Mel event, Mel conference, we weren't able to have it last year. Hopefully we'll be able to have it this year. We're working on a concept that I think will be pretty cool to really pull the conference off, and that'll take place in July. For those of you who are listening before July, and if you're listening after July, then hopefully the conference happened, and you should have access to some of the material from the conference on our online platforms. But yes, the Mel conference, that's that's an event that I created where I wanted to help us, and I include myself in the us, help us define what success is. The world really paints this picture of what success is supposed to look like, whether it's the amount of money you have, the car that you drive, the house that you live in, the people that you know, your job title, what it is that you do. But success is all relative, right? It's how you define it. The way I define success, I'm sure is different than the way you define success. And my vision is to just help people understand that there are different definitions of success. There are different levels of success. There are different times that we're going to be successful. We won't be successful all the time as well. And it's just a process. It's a journey. And, the key is to bring individuals or speakers to come to the event to share their story, so that you could understand what it takes. You can pull out the similarities that you go through in your daily journey and your life journey, professionally and personally. And hopefully you can apply some of that information to your daily life, so that you can start to develop and define your own success definition. So that's a Mel conference, man. And there's going to be a whole lot of other things that we're going to do, that I hope to do as an organization. My goal is to always continue to progress. I never want to settle on the things that I did last year, right? I want to always be working and moving into the direction of always progressing, right? Last year's success is last year's success. I'm not going to dwell on that. I'm not going to settle on that. I'm always trying to outdo myself. And I always challenge myself every year, right? What can I do this year that's going to outdo what I did last year? And I want to encourage you to do the same. Let's not focus on what happened last year. Even if last year wasn't successful, then we look at it as, okay, what can I do this year that's going to make this year better than last year? And just always try to push the envelope, man. Don't allow society or others, your friends or your family, to put you in a box or to tell you what you can and can't do. You're an individual. I think you should challenge yourself to really understand your potential, understand the skills that you have, build your network, build yourself with individuals around you that's going to encourage you, that's going to push you, that's going to help you and assist you in everything that you need as well, and you need to accomplish as well. So always, I'm just always trying to outwork myself, outdo myself, and I'm excited for what this new year, and I'm already thinking about next year, even though we aren't finished with this year yet, but excited what this new year holds. And I wanted to encourage you to do the same. So with that said, I wanted to get into the milestones for this particular episode. And this week's milestone, piggybacking off of, ironically, what I was just talking about, there may be a time or a period in your life where you feel like, you're unsuccessful, or you might have experienced something traumatic and you don't know what to do, or you may have failed in a business, or you may have been fired, or something of a crisis has occurred, or you just feel like you're just not where you want to be in life, right? I wanted to share this milestone because I was exactly there. When my parents passed, I really didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know where to take everything. And, I was able to really ground myself in my faith and really kind of understand the opportunities that I had. And I think the one key thing that I was able to remember and able to ask myself is, what do I have? And that's the thing I want to leave with you today. What do you have? Ask yourself, what do you have? This reminds me of Elijah, right? In back in the Old Testament, when he had, God had sent him to this particular town, and he told him that he was going to find a servant. No, sorry, that's a different story. The story I actually want to talk about comes from when there was a wife who lost her husband. Here we go. There was a wife who lost her husband, and she met with Elijah and told Elijah that, her husband died. He had a business. He's no longer here to run the business. And they had creditors. Husband had creditors that were knocking at the doors. They wanted to be paid. And the creditors were about to take her two sons into slavery, basically, to pay off the debt that their dad had with them. And, Elijah listened to her, understood what she was saying, and, he asked her one simple question. He said, "How can I help?" And then he said, "Tell me, what do you have?" And I think that's what we all need to ask ourselves. If we feel like we aren't progressing in life, if we feel like we aren't where we should be, or where we feel like we need to be in life, and we feel stuck, right? We feel like, man, I can't, I see myself in a much better position, or in a much bigger position, but, I don't know how to get there. The question you should ask is, well, what do you have that can start you on the journey, or in the process to get yourself to where you ultimately see yourself? And in the story, she told him that, I have nothing, right? All I have is some oil. And what's ironic about that, right, is, for me, sometimes the things that we don't think are important that we have are the exact things that we need to propel us into where we should be, or where we need to be. But we're looking at these things as so irrelevant, or just so minuscule, like, this isn't that important. She said, "Oh, I just got a jar of oil. What can I do with oil?" Right? And I was the same way. I was like, man, what do I do? I don't talk like my dad. I'm not as outgoing as my father. How am I going to, carry this vision forward? And then I just ask myself, man, what do I have, right? What can I do? What is it that I possess as an individual? Not trying to be my dad, not trying to outdo him, not trying to walk in his shoes ever, as much as people may want me to. I'm confident enough to know that it's not my journey. But I ask myself, what do I have? I have the things that he left behind. I have my expertise in the way that, I like to develop business. I have the networks that he left behind. So there's all these things that I had that I may have been taking for granted, or just may not have been looking at with the right set of eyes. And I did. I changed my perception. I changed my mindset, and I started to really ask myself, what do I have? And she, going back to the story, she said, "Oh, I have nothing, just this jar of oil." And Elijah told her to, go around and ask your neighbors for empty jars. The key principle here is, I think, we can never do it by ourselves. We should never look to propel ourselves to that next level of success alone. We're going to need people. And I think also what he's telling her is, go and ask people for things that they don't need, right? Just So he said, ask them for empty jars. Someone comes to me and asks me, hey, do you have an empty jar or empty cup or empty bowl or something? Sure, I have something that I can give you. It means nothing to me, but it can mean the world for you, right? It's not going to do anything to advance my life, but it can change the progress of your life. Something as simple as an empty jar, as if we go back to the example. So, he told her to go around and ask all of your neighbors for empty jars. And, don't just ask for a few, ask for all. Just say, yo, give me all the empty jars that you have. And that's what I think we need to do. Yo, give me some of your time. Give me some of the scraps that you're not using, some old clothes, some old furniture, some old fabric, some old, whatever it is that you could make use of. If you don't have all that you need, just go out and ask your neighbors, because that's how we live. That's how we're supposed to live. So she went out and she listened to him. She got all the jars, and she started to take the jar of oil that she had. All she had was oil, right? Brought the jars, and she started to fill the empty jars with oil. And they didn't really give a number in this story, but I'm assuming she had hundreds of jars of oil. And, in her mind, all she had was this small jar of oil. But ironically, this small jar of oil filled up all of these jars of oil that she got from her neighbors. And then Elijah told, so she, the jars were full. She asked her sons, bring me some more jars. And they was like, that's it. We don't have any more. This is like 700 jars here. I didn't even know we were going to fill 2, right? Again, another principle here, how amazing our God is. He would use the little that we have to create an abundance, right? There's so many principles in this story, man, that I feel like we take for granted because we're not really honing in on what it's trying to teach us. And that, everything that is said in this story is important. And I think we should just, make ourselves aware of that. So not want to make this too much longer, so she went back to him and said, the jars are full. And Elijah told her, go sell the oil and use the money that you make to pay your debts. And then he said, and then you and your sons can live off the rest of whatever is left. So, here's a lady who experienced a crisis. Her husband died, who was the breadwinner for the home, and she had a lot of creditors, and they were in debt. And the debtors came, and they wanted to get paid, and she didn't know what to do. She was asked what she had. All I have is this jar of oil, and ultimately that jar of oil was enough. That's all she needed. She was able to go out amongst her neighborhood and get some empty jars and use the jar of oil that she had to fill the jars that she got. And let's assume that it was hundreds of jars that she was able to get from her neighbors. And she filled all of them up, was able to sell the oil, made enough money to pay off the debtors, and then she was able to live. Her and her sons lived off what was left. So it didn't say that you guys can once whatever is left runs out, you'll have to think of something else. It said that you will be able to live off. So the assumption here is that whatever it is that she made, it was more than enough for her lifetime and her son's lifetime. How amazing is that, right? We start off thinking, man, I don't have anything. And we ask ourselves, what do we have? And we say, all I have is this. All I have is that. All I have is this irrelevant piece of substance. All I have is this talent that, I don't know how to use it. I don't know how to monetize. All I have is, this home. All I have is this yard, this vacant, whatever it is that we have. There's always use that it can be put to. And the use that we put it to allows us to create an abundance for ourselves and for our families. So the milestone for today, for this episode, is what do you have? Continue to ask yourself that. Just continue to be mindful of the uses that you can make of the things that you think are irrelevant. Those things that you think are irrelevant are the things that can really change your life and create an abundance for you and your family. Okay. Cool. Well, episode 6, it's in the bag. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Miles High Pod. I'll see you guys later.